Hello, this is Andrew Clover, the Storyman. Today, I'm in the mirror-lined bedroom of louche comedian David Walliams, ready to prise him open with an improvised fairy story. I am lying in the bedroom of David Walliams, of the famous Walliams and Lucas double act, Rock Profiles, Sir Bernard Chumley, Stately Homes.
Well, that's going back a bit.
And you've actually been in every single sitcom in the last year. You were in Spaced, you were High Stakes.
Time Gentleman, please, as well. Did you not watch that?
No.
Oh.
No.
Thank you.
Very rarely, I don't often see you on the telly.
Well, I'm always on.
You're on Play UK is like your channel. I mean, it has Rock Profiles on like 4 hours a day, doesn't it?
I think so, but apparently it's the show, the channel is coming off at the end of the year.
Why?
I think basically Rock Profile is putting people off getting the channel, yeah.
I want you to imagine that it's 30 years in the future.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, I'd be 60.
You're 60 and you're living, I don't know, a little house in Henley.
Hill Thames, by the river.
Yeah, sort of boiled sweets on your knee. Be a lot of crisp white linen. And you'd have a glass of white wine and you'd have habits. You'd have a girl called Maria who would bring you like sardine sandwiches.
What do you mean a girl? What, someone I employ? Or?
Yeah, you'd become Noel Coward in this.
I saw a brilliant documentary on him once, and they asked his old the guy who was his cook, what kinds of things did Noel eat? The master, he ate chicken, fish, fruit, vegetables, potatoes, bread, cheese. I was like, well, he just ate pretty much what everyone else ate then. It was really curious.
I want you to imagine that you are 60 years old.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a terrifying thought.
But you've had quite a successful career. Every evening at about 5 o'clock, you sit out on the lawn, yeah, and you have the same thing at 5 o'clock every day. What is it?
I'd have a high tea.
High tea.
I'd have sandwiches and scones and cakes and biscuits. I'd really pack it in. Rounds of sandwiches, like smoked salmon and cream cheese sandwiches.
And who would bring
cheese
them?
and chutney? A manservant,
What's he called?
Gerald.
Gerald. Okay, so you're sitting in this chair. Gerald, the manservant, is bringing a 3-tiered dish of sandwiches. And you're surveying the scene about you. What can you see in front of you?
I can see the River Thames
Ah.
and people messing around on boats. Which is a lovely sight. It's a lovely summer's day and people are just living for pleasure. You know that thing where you just see people rowing a boat and they're just doing it for the sheer pleasure of rowing a boat. They're not going anywhere. They're just going out and coming back in again. People not quite prepared for the summer. Do you know what I mean? With their sleeves rolled up a little bit and sort of sweating in their sort of trousers. But it's somehow much better than if they were sort of dressed completely in sort of beachwear or something. And lollies and cans of fizz. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
Turn around and see your house.
The house looks magnificent because it is one of those beautiful, beautiful houses by the river with a long lawn that stretches out to the river so you can go right to the riverbank. And the house is grand, very grand, and the lawn is very manicured and there's maybe a lovely tree and a swing or a little chair underneath it.
Okay, go up the stairs.
Into the house.
Into the house itself. And you go through your living room and a rather good glass collection on the left, which you very
Collection of
rarely bring out.
glasses, like little, glasses you drink alcohol out of. Yeah. Alcohol, as if you drink alcohol sort of on its own. Would you like some alcohol? Just pure alcohol. I don't have it in drinks. I just have it as alcohol.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm digressing.
No, you're not actually. You're presenting an image of yourself that I'd never seen before.
Well, actually, I think I'm going to slightly make more sense when I'm older. Because I can be like a fruity old man.
I can completely
in like a
see it.
blazer and slacks and one of those hats, you know? Those sort of boating hats and sort of like overseeing a bowls tournament or something like that. That's how I kind of see myself. Slightly fat with a moustache, sort of vague appearance of Albert Finney about me. Do you know what I mean? It's slightly fruity and it's like giving out sweets to children and people taking their children away going, don't go near him. Sort of charming, but a veil of seediness behind it. You're asking lots of people back to see things like paintings, and you must come and see my plates, or something like that. One thing leads to another, and the police are called. You can see the scenario exactly.
Yeah, but always very well
I'm
shaped.
very sorry, officer. I don't know what came over me. It must have been the neat alcohol I was drinking. I'm on sort of first name terms with him. Hello, John. Anything I can help you with? You must come to one of my parties, I say to him.
Go into the next door room.
Yes.
There's lots of paintings of yourself all around the room.
They're all of me in various guises, all my different guises. There's
But-
me as a Frenchman, me as a Spaniard, me as a sort of matador figure, me off into space when I went on my space explorations.
What objects can you see in the living room?
Stuffed heads of animals.
Go over to the stuffed animal head. What animal is it?
A moose.
A moose. Look into its mouth. What can you see inside its stuffed mouth?
I can see an eye looking
eye.
out at me. Someone's looking, but as soon as I've looked, a little black shutter has come down, and the eye isn't there anymore.
So how can you get round to the other side of the wall and see who that person was?
Well, go through the door.
Go through the
because
door.
surely that's the kitchen.
Go round and hurry. Who is it?
Well, they're not there anymore.
Well, hurry. Find them.
Well, I'm running out into the garden now
Right.
to look for them.
Right. Out into
I
the
see a
garden.
figure just drifting into the bushes. I see a coat flapping in the wind. He's getting closer and closer all the time.
Because you're catching up with
Because
him.
he's trying to go through the hedge.
Oh, he's trying to clamber over a hedge.
Well, he's trying to get out
You reach up and actually grab him.
and pull him down.
You yank him down. He falls to the floor heavily. Ah! And he rises a bit. He's in some pain, but he's not badly injured. Who is he?
He's actually got the face of a child.
Of a child. How old is he actually?
He looks 12.
Who is it?
He looks like my younger self.
It is your younger self. And he was spying on you. Why was he spying on you?
I don't know. I have to ask him that.
You say, why have you come? What does he say?
He says, I've come to look at you, to see what you've become.
And you say to him, and
What
what
do you
have I
think
become?
of what I've become? He says, I'm disgusted. I think you're repulsive, he says. You're a repulsive old man. You're everything you said you were never going to be. You're a stupid, old, fat, drunk-looking, big bastard.
The child says that.
Yes.
And then what does he give you?
He gives
He
me a
thrusts
letter.
something at you. Yes. And you open the letter. What does the address say on the top?
It's my own address. It's a letter to myself.
What does it say?
It says, Dear David, if you're reading this, then you've become what you never wanted to be. You've become what you most hated. You've become a filthy old git, living alone in a house, living a lie, and I hate you. Yours, David.
And what does the child do, having destroyed your life like that?
Laughs.
He laughs. And then what does he do?
He tears out the piece of paper and throws it in my face.
And then what does he do?
He runs off.
And then what do you do?
I fall to my knees.
Yes. And then what?
I put my head on the ground,
Hmm.
and I just wish the earth would swallow me up.
And you go back out into the garden where Gerald had laid the tea set.
I stand up and I just walk out right to the riverbank
Yes.
and start walking into the river until I'm completely submerged.
The water's going over your head.
Yes.
And what do you see?
All I can see is dirty, dirty water.
And what
I
happens?
can't see more than a few inches in front of me.
Mm-hmm. A bit cold.
I'm not even noticing. I'm just glad there's the kind of silence that you get underwater.
Can you breathe?
No.
Are you dying?
Yes.
You're moving down the river. It's catching you in the current. And in fact, there are a few black objects of boats overhead. You're actually going quite fast with the current. And you can't breathe. And at first, your lungs are spasmed and try to fill. But in fact, you've now, a mood of serenity has reached you. The oxygen is being cut off. You are actually dying. Can you feel that?
Yeah, it's a nice feeling.
And you actually now feel quite blissful. Yeah? And what do you see?
I can just see the sunshine coming through from the ceiling of the water.
And in fact, the air is now really going. You've only got seconds left to live. And what do you see now? Suddenly a vision comes into your mind. What is it of?
My mother
What's she doing?
crying
Why?
because I'm dying.
And another second passes and another image comes into your mind. What is it?
My father
What's he doing?
laughing
Why?
because I'm dying.
And now death comes upon you, all right? All the air is now out of your drowning body, which continues to go down the stream. But in fact, your consciousness carries on. Suddenly, another vision comes to you. Possibly this is death, who knows? But what do you see?
A fox.
A fox. What does it do?
It's playing a flute and laughing.
Playing a flute and laughing. Go over towards the fox. What tune is it playing?
It's playing like an Irish jig.
Mm-hmm. Go around the back of the fox. The fox continues to play, but you realise, in fact, the fox is a person dressed in a fox costume. You can see a big zip down the back. And you unzip the fox, and you pull out a person who immediately stops dancing. And you can see their shirt from the back. What colour's their shirt?
White.
White. How long is the hair?
Short.
Short.
Black.
Short,
It's
black
unmistakable.
hair. Who is it?
Gerald,
It's Gerald.
my manservant.
Yes. And what does he say to you?
He said that was today's jolly jape.
And what does he give you?
A rose.
A rose. And what do you do to the rose?
I put it in my buttonhole.
And how do you feel?
Splendid.
Is that the end of the story?
Yes.
What did you get from doing all this?
I feel sad.
That's what you feel. You feel sick and feel sad.
I feel sick.
What did you say? How do you
I feel sad.
You feel sad.
Well, it feels a bit revealing in a way that you don't really want to be. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not quite controlling it. Because it's like it's not you. You haven't been asked about yourself, where you can use kind of coded answers, or you can just choose your words. Because you're thinking off the top of your head and being asked questions all the time. It feels like you've got to say the first thing that comes into your head, which is terribly revealing.
Yes.
I was enjoying it. I was just a bit scared.
Mm. Well, life is scary, but what's the alternative?
Death.
True. Which apparently involves you and a manservant who brings you a buttonhole every day. So maybe it's going to be okay. Well, this brings us to the end of our story, man. What would you like to say to our listener, Mary Hampton?
Thank you very much for listening. Hope it wasn't too disturbing for you.
Thank you very much for listening, Mary, and to Bob and to everybody else. Good night.